The December wind cut through the Great Smoky Mountains like a razor, carrying with it the promise of snow. Danny Morrison gripped his Harley's handlebars tighter, his leather gloves doing little to ward off the bitter cold that had settled over eastern Tennessee. Behind him, 4 other motorcycles rumbled through the darkness, their headlights carving tunnels of light through the thick fog that clung to Newfound Gap Road. It was nearly midnight, and the group of veterans was finally heading home to Knoxville after a long weekend charity ride in Asheville, North Carolina. They had raised over $15,000 for homeless veterans, and despite their exhaustion, there was a sense of accomplishment that warmed them more than any jacket could. Danny was a 47-year-old Army veteran who had served 2 tours in Afghanistan. His weathered face told stories of battles fought and brothers lost. His salt and pepper beard was frosted with ice crystals, and his steel blue eyes remained fixed on the treacherous mountain road ahead. The temperature had dropped to 28 degrees, and patches of black ice were forming on the asphalt. Behind Danny rode Thomas "Tommy" Reynolds, a burly former Marine with a distinctive scar running down his left cheek. Then came Vincent Patterson, a Navy veteran who still walked with a slight limp from a training accident years ago. Fourth in line was Gregory Walsh, an Air Force mechanic whose hands could fix anything with an engine. Bringing up the rear was Raymond "Ray" Cooper, the youngest of the group at 32, a former Army medic whose skills had saved countless lives in combat. The 5 men had formed their motorcycle club, Brothers of the Mountain, 3 years ago. They were more than riding buddies, they were family, bound by shared trauma, mutual respect, and a commitment to helping other veterans who struggled to adjust to civilian life. "Danny, I can barely feel my fingers." Tommy's voice crackled through the Bluetooth communicator in Danny's helmet. 10 more miles to the turnoff," Danny responded, his breath visible in the frigid air. "We'll stop at the diner in Gatlinburg, get some hot coffee." "Thank God," Vincent chimed in. "My wife's gonna kill me for staying out this late in this weather." Danny smiled beneath his face mask. It was the same complaint Vincent made on every ride, yet his wife Angela always welcomed him home with understanding. She knew these rides were therapy, a way for her husband to process the demons that still haunted him from his service. The motorcycles continued their careful progression down the winding mountain road. The fog had thickened, reducing visibility to less than 50 feet. Danny slowed to 30 miles per hour, his eyes scanning for the reflective road markers that would keep them from veering off the cliff's edge. That's when he saw it. A small figure, no bigger than a child, stumbled out of the tree line on the right side of the road, maybe 100 yards ahead. The figure collapsed onto the shoulder, barely visible in the swirling fog. "What the hell?" Danny muttered, immediately slowing down and raising his left hand to signal the others. As they approached, Danny's headlight illuminated the scene more clearly. It was definitely a child, a little girl, from what he could tell, lying motionless on the frozen ground. She wore only a thin, torn nightgown that was soaked through, her bare feet covered in mud and blood. Danny's heart lurched. He brought his motorcycle to a stop about 20 feet away and immediately dismounted, his combat instincts kicking in. The other riders pulled up behind him, their engines rumbling in the eerie silence of the mountain night. "Ray, get up here!" Danny barked, already running toward the child. "We've got an injured kid!" Raymond grabbed his medical bag, he never rode without it, and sprinted after Danny. The other 3 men fanned out, their flashlights cutting through the fog as they scanned the surrounding area for any signs of a vehicle accident or other victims. Danny knelt beside the girl, his training telling him to assess the situation before moving her. She was tiny, couldn't have been more than 10 years old. Her brown hair was matted with dirt and leaves, her skin pale and ice-cold to the touch. Her lips had a bluish tinge. Hypothermia was setting in. "Sweetheart, can you hear me?" Danny's voice was surprisingly gentle for such a rough-looking man. He placed 2 fingers on her neck, searching for a pulse. It was there, faint but steady. The girl's eyelids fluttered open. Her eyes were hazel, but there was something in them that made Danny's stomach twist, a hollowness, a depth of fear and exhaustion that no child should ever possess. "Please." Her voice was barely a whisper, her teeth chattering violently. "Please, don't." "You're safe now, honey," Danny said, beginning to remove his heavy leather jacket. "We're going to help you. Ray's a medic. He's going to check you out." Raymond knelt on the opposite side of the girl, already pulling out a thermal blanket from his bag. He began a rapid assessment, checking for obvious injuries, broken bones, or bleeding. The girl suddenly grabbed Danny's arm with surprising strength, her small fingers digging into his forearm. Her eyes locked onto his with an intensity that sent chills down his spine. "Don't take me back," she pleaded, her voice cracking. "Please, I'm begging you, just kill me here. Let me die in the cold. Don't take me back to him." The 5 veterans froze. The raw desperation in the child's voice was unlike anything they had heard, and they had heard plenty of desperate pleas in their military careers. "Nobody's killing anybody," Danny said firmly but gently, wrapping his jacket around her tiny frame. "And nobody's taking you anywhere you don't want to go. But first, we need to get you warm. You're going into hypothermia, and you're going to die out here if we don't help you. Do you understand?" The girl stared at him for a long moment, as if trying to determine whether she could trust him. Slowly, she gave the slightest nod. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Danny asked as Raymond wrapped the thermal blanket around her. "Claire," she whispered. "Claire Madison Thompson." "Okay, Claire, I'm Danny. This is Ray, Tommy, Vincent, and Greg. We're veterans, and we help people. We're not going to hurt you, and we're not going to take you anywhere bad. I promise you that. Can you trust me?" Claire didn't answer immediately. She was shivering violently now, her body's desperate attempt to generate warmth. Raymond was checking her feet, which were torn and bloody from running barefoot through the mountain wilderness. "She's got multiple lacerations on her feet, possible frostbite on her toes," Raymond reported, his medic voice crisp and professional despite the surreal situation. "No obvious broken bones, but she's severely dehydrated and hypothermic. Core temperature's probably around 92, maybe lower. We need to get her to a hospital now." "No hospital!" Claire suddenly cried out, trying to sit up. "No, they'll call him. They'll send me back. Please, please don't make me go back." Her panic was genuine and terrifying. Danny gently placed his hands on her shoulders, not restraining her, but grounding her. "Claire, listen to me. Look at me." He waited until her frightened eyes met his. "Nobody is sending you back to anyone. But you're seriously hurt, and Ray says you need medical attention. If we don't get you help, you could lose your toes, maybe worse. Do you understand?" Tears began streaming down Claire's dirty cheeks. "You don't understand. Nobody understands. They always send kids back. The police, the social workers, they always send you back, and then it gets worse, so much worse." Tommy had been searching the immediate area and returned, shaking his head. No signs of a vehicle, no tracks, nothing. She must have come through the woods on foot. In this weather, in the dark. Vincent looked at the dense tree line. "That's over a mile of rough terrain from the nearest house or road. How the hell did a kid this size make it through that?" "Adrenaline and terror," Raymond said quietly. "I've seen soldiers run miles on broken legs when they're scared enough. The body can do incredible things when survival instinct kicks in." Gregory, who had been silent until now, spoke up. His voice was thoughtful, measured. "Danny, we need to be smart about this. We find an injured kid on a mountain road. She's terrified of going back somewhere. She's asking us to let her die. This isn't just a lost hiker. Something seriously wrong has been happening to this child." Danny knew Gregory was right. Every instinct he had, both as a veteran and as a father to his own 2 daughters, told him that Claire had been running from something horrific. The way she flinched when Tommy moved too quickly, the hollow look in her eyes, the preference for death over returning home. These were all red flags, screaming abuse. "We're taking her to my place," Danny decided. "Ray, Can you treat her there for now? At least stabilize her. Raymond nodded slowly. I can handle the hypothermia and dress her wounds. But Danny, if there's internal injuries or serious infections, then we'll deal with that. But we're not taking her anywhere until she feels safe enough to tell us what's happening. Agreed. The four other men exchanged glances. What Danny was proposing skirted the edge of legality. They should be calling 911, getting this girl to authorities who could handle child welfare cases. But they had all seen how broken the system could be. They had all known veterans who fell through the cracks, who got bounced around until they gave up and ended up on the streets, or worse. Agreed, Tommy said finally. The others nodded. Danny looked back at Claire. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to take you to my house. It's warm, it's safe, and my wife Jennifer is there. She's a kindergarten teacher, and she's one of the kindest people you'll ever meet. Ray is going to patch you up, get you warm and fed. Then when you're ready, only when you're ready, you're going to tell us what you're running from. And we're going to figure out how to keep you safe. Does that sound okay? Claire studied his face for a long time. Danny could see her weighing her options, calculating whether this was a trap, whether these strange men on motorcycles could be trusted. Why would you help me? She asked finally, her voice small and broken. You don't even know me. Danny felt something crack in his chest. He thought of his own daughters, 12-year-old Hannah and 14-year-old Melissa, safe and warm in their beds at home. He thought of all the children he had seen in Afghanistan, caught in the crossfire of adult wars they didn't understand. He thought of the oath he had taken when he enlisted, to protect and defend. Because that's what we do, he said simply. We protect people who can't protect themselves. That's what soldiers do, Claire, and just because we're not in uniform anymore doesn't mean we stop being soldiers. Something shifted in Claire's eyes. It wasn't trust, not exactly, but maybe the tiniest seed of hope. Okay, she whispered. The logistics of getting Claire off the mountain were complicated. She couldn't ride on a motorcycle in her condition, and calling an ambulance was out of the question given her terror of authorities. Gregory pulled out his phone and called his wife Linda, who lived closest to their current location. Lynn, I need you to get the pickup and meet us at the overlook near mile marker 42. Yeah, I know what time it is. No, we're all fine. But we found a kid who needs help. I'll explain everything when you get here. Just trust me, okay? And bring blankets, warm ones. While they waited, Raymond worked on Claire. He used chemical heat packs from his medical kit to start raising her core temperature gradually, cleaned and bandaged her torn feet, and got her to sip small amounts of water from his canteen. She didn't speak much, just watched them all with wide, wary eyes. Tommy stood guard at the road, watching for any vehicles. Vincent and Gregory searched the tree line more thoroughly, looking for any clues about where Claire had come from. Danny stayed close to Claire, maintaining a protective presence without crowding her. How long have you been out here? Danny asked gently. Since dark, Claire replied, her voice still shaky. I waited until dinner time, when he always drinks too much and falls asleep. Then I ran. I didn't know where I was going. I just ran. Who is he, Claire? She looked away, her jaw tightening. Not yet. You promised I could wait until I'm ready. You're right, I did. I'm sorry. 20 minutes later, headlights appeared down the mountain road. A blue pickup truck pulled up, and a petite woman with short auburn hair jumped out. Linda Walsh was a social worker, ironically, but she knew when to follow her husband's instincts rather than protocol. She took one look at Claire, and her professional mask slipped, revealing genuine compassion. Oh, honey, let's get you somewhere warm. They lifted Claire carefully into the backseat of the truck, with Raymond sitting beside her to monitor her condition. Danny, Tommy, and Vincent would ride their motorcycles to Danny's house, while Gregory would accompany his wife in the truck. As they prepared to leave, Claire reached out and grabbed Danny's hand one more time. You really promise? She asked, her voice desperate. "You promise you won't send me back?" Danny squeezed her small hand gently. "I promise, Claire. On my honor as a soldier, as a father and as a man. Whatever you're running from, we'll figure it out together. You're safe now." The convoy made its way down the mountain, motorcycles flanking the pickup truck like an honor guard. Danny's mind raced as they descended through the fog. What had this child been through? Who had hurt her so badly that she preferred death to going home? And what were they going to do when authorities inevitably started asking questions? He didn't have answers yet. But he knew one thing with absolute certainty. They had just crossed a line, and there was no going back. Claire Madison Thompson had become their responsibility, and Brothers of the Mountain never abandoned their missions. The lights of Knoxville glimmered in the valley below, and Danny whispered a prayer into the cold night air. "Please, let us be doing the right thing." Behind him, in the warm cab of the truck, Claire finally stopped shivering. For the first time in 6 months, she felt something she had almost forgotten existed: the fragile, terrifying possibility of hope. Danny's house sat on 3 acres at the edge of Knoxville. A modest ranch-style home with a detached garage that had been converted into the unofficial clubhouse for Brothers of the Mountain. The property was surrounded by pine trees, offering privacy and quiet, a sanctuary for men who had seen too much chaos. When the convoy pulled up at 12:45 in the morning, the porch light was already on. Jennifer Morrison stood in the doorway, wrapped in a thick cardigan, her brown hair pulled back in a ponytail. At 44, she had the patient, calm demeanor of someone who had spent 20 years teaching kindergartners. But she also had the steel spine of a military wife who had survived 2 deployments and countless nightmares. As soon as Danny dismounted his motorcycle, Jennifer knew something serious had happened. Her husband's face carried the same expression he had worn when he came home from Afghanistan: determined, protective, and deeply troubled. Linda Walsh helped Claire out of the truck. The little girl was drowning in Danny's oversized leather jacket, the thermal blanket still wrapped around her thin frame. Her bare, bandaged feet touched the cold driveway, and she winced. Jennifer didn't hesitate. She walked straight to Claire, knelt down to her eye level, and spoke in the same gentle voice she used with frightened children on their first day of school. "Hi there, sweetheart. I'm Jennifer. You must be freezing. Let's get you inside where it's warm, okay? I've got hot chocolate, and I just pulled some banana bread out of the oven." Claire stared at her, then looked back at Danny, as if seeking permission to trust this new person. "It's okay," Danny nodded. "That's my wife. She's good people, Claire. Best person I know, actually." Something in Jennifer's warm brown eyes must have resonated with Claire because the girl gave a tiny nod. Jennifer held out her hand, not grabbing, just offering, and after a moment Claire took it. The group filed into the house. The living room was cozy, with a stone fireplace crackling with fresh logs. Family photos lined the walls. Danny and Jennifer's wedding day, their daughters at various ages, snapshots of motorcycle rides and barbecues with the brothers. Jennifer guided Claire to the couch closest to the fire. "Let me get you something dry to wear. You're about the same size as my daughter Hannah. I'll be right back." While Jennifer disappeared down the hallway, the men gathered in the adjacent dining room. Raymond immediately opened his medical bag on the table, taking inventory of what he had used and what else he might need. "Danny, she needs fluids. Probably an IV if she's as dehydrated as I think," Raymond said quietly. "I've got saline bags in my garage medical kit. I'll run home and get them." "Go," Danny agreed. "Tommy, Vincent, can you two stay? Greg, I know Linda needs to get home." Gregory looked torn, but Linda squeezed his arm. "We'll stay. I'm a social worker, Danny. I might be able to help figure out the legal situation." "The legal situation is that we technically just took a minor without notifying authorities," Vincent pointed out, running a hand through his dark hair. "If anyone finds out, We could all be charged with kidnapping. Nobody's going to find out tonight, Danny said firmly. First priority is making sure she's physically okay. Second priority is finding out what she's running from. Then we figure out next steps. Agreed? The group nodded, though the tension was palpable. They were all aware they were operating in a grey area, driven by gut instinct and a shared belief that sometimes the system failed the people it was supposed to protect. Jennifer returned with an armful of clothes, soft flannel pajamas, thick socks and a hoodie. She set them on the couch beside Claire, maintaining a respectful distance. The bathroom's right through that door, honey. There's a shower if you'd like to get cleaned up and warm. I'll stay right outside, okay? And here, she produced a small wooden door wedge from her pocket. You can wedge this under the door so it stays locked from the inside. Nobody can come in unless you let them. Claire's eyes widened slightly. It was such a small gesture, but it spoke volumes. Jennifer was giving her control, giving her safety, giving her choice. Thank you, Claire whispered, taking the clothes and the wedge. She stood up shakily, and Jennifer supported her elbow as she hobbled toward the bathroom on her injured feet. Once the bathroom door closed and they heard the lock click, followed by the sound of the wedge being shoved into place, the adults all released collective breaths. That poor baby, Linda said softly, her eyes glistening. I've been a social worker for 15 years. I've seen a lot of abused kids. The way she's behaving, Danny, this is severe trauma, long-term, systematic abuse. Jennifer had returned to the living room, her face pale. She's covered in bruises, old ones, new ones, various stages of healing. I saw them when I helped her with the jacket. What happened to her? We don't know yet, Danny said, but we're going to find out. The shower ran for nearly 30 minutes. Jennifer had left toiletries, a hairbrush, and even a new toothbrush still in its package on the bathroom counter. When Claire finally emerged, she looked slightly more human, though still painfully thin and fragile. Her wet brown hair hung to her shoulders, and the pajamas hung loose on her small frame. Jennifer had set up the couch with pillows and blankets, creating a nest-like space near the fire. She had also placed a tray on the coffee table with hot chocolate, banana bread, sliced apples, cheese and crackers. Easy foods that wouldn't upset a stomach that probably hadn't seen regular meals in a while. Claire sat down carefully, wincing as her bandaged feet made contact with the floor. Raymond had returned with his supplies and immediately knelt down to check her feet again. I need to change these bandages and get an IV started, he explained gently. The IV is just fluids and some vitamins. It won't hurt much, just a little pinch. Is that okay? Claire nodded, her eyes distant. She was clearly exhausted, running on fumes. While Raymond worked, Jennifer sat in a chair nearby, not hovering but present. Would you like to eat something, sweetie? You don't have to, but it's here if you want it. Claire picked up a piece of banana bread and took a small bite, then another. Within minutes, she had eaten 2 slices and drained the hot chocolate. Her body was desperate for fuel. Danny watched from the dining room, giving Claire space, but staying alert. Tommy and Vincent had taken up positions near the windows, old habits from combat, always maintaining perimeter security. Gregory and Linda sat at the dining table, speaking in low voices about the legal ramifications. After Raymond had successfully started the IV and changed the bandages, he stepped back. You're doing great, Claire. This will run for about an hour. Then you should feel a lot better. Try to rest. Claire's eyes were already drooping. The warmth of the fire, the food in her stomach, the safety of the locked house. Her body was finally allowing itself to shut down. But just as her eyes closed, they snapped open again. You're still here, right? Danny? Danny moved to where she could see him. I'm right here, not going anywhere. You promised. I did, and I keep my promises. Claire studied him for another moment, then finally let her eyes close. Within minutes, she was asleep, her breathing deep and even. Jennifer covered her with another blanket, her maternal instincts in full force. Then she turned to her husband, her expression a mix of compassion and concern. "Kitchen. Now," she said quietly but firmly. The group reconvened in the kitchen, keeping their voices low so as not to wake Claire. Jennifer turned to Danny with her arms crossed. "Okay, tell me everything, from the beginning." Danny recounted the entire story, finding Claire on the mountain road, her plea to be killed rather than taken back, her terror of hospitals and authorities, her cryptic references to him. Jennifer listened in silence, her teacher's mind processing the information. When Danny finished, she let out a long breath. She said her name was Claire Madison Thompson. "Yes, why?" Linda was already on her phone, searching. Her face went pale. "Oh my God." "Claire Madison Thompson, age 10, from Knoxville, reported missing 6 months ago." The room went silent except for the ticking of the clock on the wall. Linda turned her phone screen around. On it was a news article from June, showing a school photo of a smiling little girl with neat brown hair and a bright smile. The headline read, "Local girl missing after school. Family desperate for answers." "She's been missing for half a year," Linda breathed. There was a massive search. Amber Alert, FBI involvement, the works. The case eventually went cold. They suspected she might have been abducted by a stranger. But she said, "Don't take me back to him," Vincent said. "That means she knew her abuser. Someone familiar." Danny felt sick. "Family member?" Linda scrolled through more articles. "Father died in a car accident when she was 4. Mother remarried 3 years ago to a man named Derek Lawson. They live in Fountain City, north side of Knoxville." "Stepfather," Gregory said grimly. "Classic scenario." Article says both the mother, Natalie Thompson Lawson, and the stepfather were cleared of suspicion. They were devastated by Claire's disappearance, cooperated fully with police, even did press conferences begging for her return. Tommy's jaw clenched. Of course they were cleared. Abusers are usually smart enough to look like perfect citizens to the outside world. Jennifer was reading over Linda's shoulder, her face growing more troubled. "There's something else. Says here that Claire had been showing behavioral problems at school before her disappearance. Acting out, withdrawn, declining grades. Teachers reported concerns to her mother multiple times. Signs of abuse that got dismissed as behavioral issues," Linda said bitterly. "God, I've seen this pattern so many times. The system fails these kids every single day." Raymond had been quiet, but now he spoke up. "Based on the scarring patterns I saw, some of those injuries are months old. If she's been missing 6 months and has injuries from before that, she was being abused before she disappeared." "So where has she been for 6 months?" Vincent asked. "She didn't just vanish into thin air." "Hiding," Danny said quietly, pieces clicking into place. "She ran away. She's been surviving on her own for half a year. A 10-year-old. Surviving alone in Knoxville for 6 months." Gregory sounded skeptical. "You saw how resourceful she was out there tonight," Danny countered. "She made it through miles of mountain wilderness in freezing temperatures, in the dark, barefoot. If she's that determined to survive, she could figure out how to stay hidden in a city." Jennifer's eyes were wet. She's been out there alone, a baby, and she chose that over going home. What kind of hell must that house have been? The weight of it settled over the room like a heavy blanket. This wasn't just a simple case of a lost child. This was a child who had been so thoroughly failed by every adult in her life, by every system designed to protect her, that she had chosen to live on the streets rather than return home. "We need to wake her up and ask her directly," Gregory said. "Find out exactly what happened." "No," Jennifer said firmly. "She needs rest. Her body's been through hell. Pushing her now could re-traumatize her." "Jennifer's right," Linda agreed. "Children who've experienced this level of trauma need to feel safe before they can talk about what happened. If we push too hard, she'll shut down completely. But every hour we wait, is another hour we're technically harboring a missing child, Vincent pointed out. What happens when morning comes and people start asking questions? What happens when the police get involved? They'll return her to her mother, Linda said quietly. Even if we report suspicions of abuse, without evidence or Claire's testimony, they'll put her back in that home while they investigate. That's standard protocol. That's insane! Tommy's voice rose and Danny quickly shushed him. That's the law, Linda corrected. Family reunification is always the goal. Even in suspected abuse cases, children are rarely removed from homes without concrete evidence or imminent danger. She asked us to kill her, Danny said, barely controlling his volume. How is that not imminent danger? We know that. A judge might see it differently, especially if the stepfather has a clean record and lawyers up. The group fell into troubled silence. They were in an impossible situation. Damned if they did, damned if they didn't. Finally, Jennifer spoke, her voice calm but determined. Here's what we're going to do. Tonight we let her sleep. She's safe, she's warm, she's being monitored medically. In the morning we try to talk to her gently. We find out her story. Then we make a decision based on what she tells us. And if her story confirms abuse, Gregory asked, then we find a way to protect her that doesn't throw her back to the wolves, Danny said. We're soldiers. We've dealt with worse situations than this. We can figure it out. We're veterans, not vigilantes, Vincent cautioned. We need to be smart about this. Agreed, but we also need to remember why we started Brothers of the Mountain in the first place, Danny said, looking at each of his friends. We started it because the system failed us when we came home. The VA was a mess, support was non-existent, and we had to create our own family to survive. Well, the system's failing Claire too. So maybe we need to be her family, at least until we can find a real solution. One by one, the others nodded. They were crossing into dangerous territory, both legally and ethically, but each of them had taken an oath once to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. That oath hadn't expired just because they had taken off their uniforms. Tommy, Vincent, and Raymond agreed to stay the night, sleeping in shifts to keep watch. Gregory and Linda headed home, but promised to return first thing in the morning. Jennifer prepared the guest room and made up the couch for the men. Around 3 in the morning, Danny found himself sitting in the recliner near where Claire slept. The IV bag was nearly empty, and Raymond had removed it carefully without waking her. Her face looked peaceful in sleep, younger than her 10 years, vulnerable. Jennifer came and sat on the arm of the recliner, resting her hand on Danny's shoulder. "What are you thinking?" she asked softly. "I'm thinking about Hannah and Melissa," Danny admitted. "I'm thinking about how lucky they are to have a safe home, to never know what fear like that feels like. I'm thinking about how many kids out there don't have what our girls have. You know we can't keep her, right?" Jennifer said gently. "As much as we might want to, there are legal processes, foster care systems. I know, but we can keep her safe until we figure out what those processes should look like. We can make sure she doesn't fall through the cracks." Jennifer was quiet for a moment. "You know I'm with you, whatever you decide. But Danny, this is big. This could blow up in our faces. You could lose your job, your reputation, maybe even your freedom if someone decides to press charges." "I know. And you're still willing to take that risk for a child you just met?" Danny looked at Claire's sleeping face, so small and fragile. "Jen, if we don't help her, who will? She asked us to kill her. She'd rather be dead than go back to whatever hell she escaped from. How can I call myself a father, a husband, a man, if I turn my back on that?" Jennifer leaned down and kissed the top of his head. "That's exactly why I married you. Your stupid, beautiful, heroic heart that can't stand to see anyone suffer. Is that a yes? That's a, I trust you, and I've got your back, even if this gets messy." Which it will. It definitely will. They sat in comfortable silence, watching Claire sleep. Outside, The first hints of dawn were beginning to lighten the eastern sky. In a few hours, the real challenges would begin. Claire would wake up and they would need to hear her story. Then, they would have to figure out how to navigate a broken system, avoid criminal charges, and somehow keep a traumatized child safe. But for now, in this moment, Claire was warm and safe. She was sleeping without fear, probably for the first time in months, and that, Danny thought, was worth whatever came next. In her sleep, Claire stirred slightly. Her hand reached out as if searching for something. Without thinking, Danny leaned forward and gently clasped her small hand in his large, calloused one. She settled immediately, her breathing returning to a peaceful rhythm. "You're safe, kid," Danny whispered. "I promise. We've got you." And outside, the sun began to rise over the Smoky Mountains, bringing with it a new day and all its complicated questions. But inside the Morrison house, 5 veterans and 2 strong women had already made their choice. Sometimes, doing the right thing meant breaking the rules, and Brothers of the Mountain had never been very good at following rules anyway. Claire woke to the smell of bacon and pancakes. For a moment, disoriented, she thought she was dreaming. Then the memories crashed back. The cold mountain road, the motorcycles, the kind man named Danny who had promised not to send her back. She sat up quickly, her heart racing, and immediately winced at the pain in her feet. The living room was empty except for a large man dozing in a recliner near her. Tommy, she remembered. He had a scar on his face and gentle eyes. Voices drifted from the kitchen, along with the sizzle of cooking food and the rich aroma of coffee. Claire's stomach growled, reminding her that she hadn't had a real meal in days. The banana bread last night had been wonderful, but it had barely made a dent in the hollow ache of long-term hunger. Tommy stirred and opened his eyes. When he saw Claire was awake, he smiled. Not too big, not threatening, just warm. "Morning, kiddo. How you feeling?" "My feet hurt," Claire admitted. "I bet they do. Ray said he checked them again this morning. You want some help getting to the kitchen? Jennifer's making a mountain of food." Claire hesitated, then nodded. Tommy stood and offered his hand, letting her set the pace as she hobbled slowly toward the kitchen. The kitchen was bright with morning sun streaming through the windows. Jennifer stood at the stove, flipping pancakes with practiced ease. Danny sat at the kitchen table with Vincent and Raymond, coffee mugs in hand. When Claire appeared in the doorway, all conversation stopped. "Well, good morning, sunshine," Jennifer said cheerfully, as if having a traumatized missing child in her kitchen was the most natural thing in the world. "You're just in time. I've got chocolate chip pancakes, bacon, scrambled eggs, and fresh orange juice. What sounds good?" Claire stood frozen, overwhelmed by the normalcy of it all. When was the last time someone had cooked her breakfast? When was the last time she had sat at a table with people who smiled at her instead of yelling? "All of it?" she said quietly, unsure if she was allowed to ask. "All of it is." Jennifer began loading a plate with generous portions. "Danny, get her situated at the table, and somebody grab the maple syrup from the pantry." Within minutes, Claire was seated at the kitchen table with more food in front of her than she had seen in months. The men were careful not to crowd her, giving her space while still being present. Jennifer sat down across from her with her own plate, demonstrating that it was okay to eat. Claire didn't need much encouragement. She ate slowly at first, then faster, her body desperate for the fuel. Nobody commented on her eating. Nobody made her feel self-conscious. They just let her eat in peace while making casual conversation about the weather, an upcoming motorcycle rally, and Vincent's ongoing battle with his neighbor's rooster that crowed at 4 a.m. every morning. It was so normal, so gentle. Claire felt tears prickling her eyes, but blinked them away. She couldn't let her guard down yet. She didn't know what these people really wanted. After she had eaten 3 pancakes, 4 strips of bacon, and a full glass of orange juice, Jennifer cleared the plates, and Raymond approached with his medical bag. "Mind if I check your feet, Claire? I want to make sure they're healing properly." Claire nodded, and Raymond knelt down, carefully unwrapping the bandages. The wounds looked better than last night, cleaned and beginning to scab over, but they were still angry and painful. "You did a number on these," Raymond said gently. "How long were you walking before we found you?" "I don't know, since it got dark. Maybe 5 hours. Through the mountains, in the cold, barefoot. Claire, that's pretty remarkable. You're one tough kid." Claire didn't feel tough. She felt tired and scared and confused. After Raymond had re-bandaged her feet and given her some ibuprofen for the pain, Jennifer spoke up. "Claire, honey, would you be willing to talk to us? To tell us what happened? Nobody's going to force you, but we can't help you if we don't understand what you're running from." There it was, the question she had been dreading. Claire looked around the table at the faces watching her, all concerned, all patient, none of them angry or demanding. Her gaze settled on Danny. "You promised you wouldn't send me back." "I did, and I'm keeping that promise. But Claire, we found out something last night. We looked you up online." Claire's stomach dropped. Of course they had. "We know you've been missing for 6 months," Danny continued gently. "We know there was an Amber Alert, an FBI investigation, search parties. We know your mother and stepfather reported you missing and claimed they were desperate to find you." "They're lying," Claire said flatly. "We believe you," Jennifer said quickly. "But we need to understand what happened, all of it from the beginning." Claire felt the familiar tightness in her chest, the panic that always came when she thought about home, about him. But these people had been kind to her. They had fed her, kept her warm, promised to protect her. Maybe they were different. She took a shaky breath. "My real dad died when I was 4. I don't remember him much. My mom married Derek when I was 7. He seemed nice at first. He smiled a lot, bought me presents, told my mom he wanted to be a good father to me." The adults listened in silence, not interrupting. But after they got married, he changed. Or maybe he didn't change. Maybe he just stopped pretending. He started getting angry about little things. If I left a toy out, or if I was too loud, or if I didn't eat all my dinner. At first it was just yelling. Then it was more. Claire's hands trembled. Jennifer reached across the table and gently covered them with her own hands, grounding her. "He started hitting me, not where anyone could see, always my back, my stomach, my legs, places my clothes would cover. He said if I told anyone, he'd hurt my mom too, and I believed him because I saw how scared she was of him." "Did your mother know he was hurting you?" Linda's voice was soft. She had arrived while Claire was eating along with Gregory. "At first, I think she didn't want to know. She'd see bruises and I'd lie and say I fell, and she'd just accept it. It was easier for her that way, but eventually she had to know. She walked in once when he was..." Claire's voice broke. The memory was too fresh, too raw. "Take your time," Danny said. "You're safe here." After a moment, Claire continued. "She walked in when he had me pressed against the wall, his hand around my throat. I thought she'd help me. I thought finally she'd choose me over him. But she didn't," Jennifer said softly, tears in her eyes. "No, she told me to stop making him angry. She said I needed to be better behaved, more respectful. Then she left the room and closed the door behind her." The kitchen was silent except for the ticking of the clock. The men's faces had gone hard, jaws clenched with controlled anger. Jennifer was openly crying now, though she stayed quiet. "That's when I knew nobody was going to help me. Teachers had asked if everything was okay at home. I'd lied and said yes because Derek told me what would happen if I didn't. Social services came to the house once because a neighbor reported hearing screaming. Derek was so nice to them, so charming. He showed them my room, all my toys, explained that I'd been having behavioral issues and they were working on it. They believed him. Everyone always believed him. "So you ran," Raymond said quietly. "Not at first. I tried to be perfect. I tried to never make him angry. But it didn't matter. Nothing I did mattered. He'd find reasons, and it got worse. He started touching me in ways that weren't right." Linda made a small sound of distress. Gregory put his arm around his wife, his face grim. "I wanted to die," Claire said simply. "I thought about it all the time, how I could just stop. But I was too scared. And then one day I realized I had another choice. I could run. So I did." 6 months ago, Danny said. "Yes. I waited until he and my mom went to work. I took some food from the kitchen, the $23 I had saved from birthdays, and I left. I knew they'd look for me, so I couldn't go to friends or relatives. I had to disappear completely." "Where did you go?" Vincent asked. "How did you survive?" Claire's voice became matter-of-fact, as if she was describing someone else's life. "I spent the first week hiding in Chilhowee Park. I slept in the bathroom there at night, left early in the morning before the Rangers came. I ate from trash cans. People throw away so much good food. But then the Amber Alert came out, and my picture was everywhere. I had to move." She detailed a life that no child should know. Sleeping in abandoned buildings, churches that left their doors unlocked, under bridges when weather permitted. She learned which gas stations would let her use the bathroom without buying anything, which restaurants threw out food at the end of the night, which library branches didn't ask questions if a kid sat reading all day. "I cut my hair short with scissors I found in a dumpster. I wore boys' clothes I took from donation bins. I stayed dirty so people wouldn't look at me too close. Mostly people don't see homeless kids. They look right through you." Jennifer was crying openly now. "Baby, you've been living like that for 6 months?" "I kept moving, never stayed in one place more than a few days. It was better than home. Even when it was cold, even when I was hungry, it was better than Derek." "What changed last night?" Danny asked. "Why were you on the mountain road? That's miles from the city." Claire's face darkened. "He found me. 3 days ago I was near the bus station downtown. I thought I was safe, but I looked up and he was there, across the street, staring right at me. Our eyes met and I ran. I ran as fast as I could. I jumped on a bus that was leaving, hid in the bathroom. When I got off, I was in the mountains somewhere. I didn't know where. I just started walking, trying to get farther away. So when we found you last night, you'd been walking for 3 days. Raymond's voice was incredulous. "I slept some in the woods, found a creek for water. But mostly I just walked, because I knew if he caught me..." Claire's voice went hollow. "He told me once if I ever ran away, he'd make sure I regretted it. He'd make me wish I was dead. So when I saw your motorcycles, I thought maybe you'd just end it for me. It seemed better than going back." The raw honesty of it was devastating. This child had been so thoroughly broken that death seemed preferable to rescue, because every rescue in her life had led her back to hell. Danny stood up and walked to the window, his back to the group. Jennifer could see his shoulders shaking. Her husband, who had been through 2 wars, who had seen friends die in combat, was crying. Tommy, Vincent, and Gregory weren't in much better shape. These were men who prided themselves on being tough, on controlling their emotions. But there was no controlling the rage and heartbreak they felt at Claire's story. Linda, ever the professional, managed to keep her composure. "Claire, what you did, surviving on your own for 6 months, that's extraordinary. You're incredibly brave and resourceful. But you shouldn't have had to do any of that. What happened to you wasn't your fault, none of it." "I know," Claire said quietly, "but knowing doesn't make it not real." Danny turned back around, his eyes red, but his face determined. "Okay, here's what's going to happen. We're not sending you back. I don't care what the law says. I don't care what protocols say. You're not going back to that house." "Danny!" Linda started. "No, I know what you're going to say. Legal ramifications, proper channels, all of it. And normally I'd agree. But Linda, you heard her. The system already failed her. Teachers saw signs and did nothing. Social services came to her house and believed the abuser. Her own mother chose her husband over her daughter. So no, we're not trusting the system this time." "So what are you suggesting?" Gregory asked. "We keep her here indefinitely. Eventually, people will figure out where she is." "Not if she's not here," Vincent said slowly. "My uncle has a cabin in North Carolina near Asheville. It's remote, off the grid mostly. No neighbors for miles." "You're talking about hiding a missing child across state lines," Linda said. "That's federal kidnapping." "I'm talking about keeping a child safe," Vincent countered. "There's a difference. Not to a federal prosecutor, there isn't." The group began arguing in hushed but urgent voices, debating options, risks, and legal alternatives. Through it all, Claire sat silently, watching them fight over her future, trying to advocate for her safety, even though it put them at risk. Finally, she spoke up, her voice cutting through the argument. "I don't want you to go to jail because of me." Everyone stopped and looked at her. "You've been so kind, kinder than anyone's been to me in so long. But I don't want to ruin your lives. If keeping me puts you in danger, maybe it would be better if I just disappeared again." "Absolutely not," Jennifer said firmly. "Claire Madison Thompson, you listen to me. You are a child. You are not responsible for adult decisions. If we choose to help you, that's our choice, and whatever consequences come from it are on us, not you. Understood?" Claire's eyes filled with tears. "But why? Why would you risk everything for me?" Danny came back to the table and knelt beside Claire's chair, putting himself at her eye level. "Because that's what family does, kid. And whether you know it yet or not, you're family now. Brothers of the Mountain doesn't leave anyone behind. That includes little sisters." That broke her. Claire started sobbing, deep, wrenching sobs that came from 6 months of fear, pain, and loneliness, finally finding a safe place to land. Jennifer pulled her into a hug, and Claire clung to her like a drowning person clings to a life raft. The men looked away, giving her privacy in her grief, their own eyes damp. After several minutes, Claire's sobs quieted to hiccups. She pulled back from Jennifer, wiping her eyes. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." "Don't you dare apologize for crying," Jennifer said firmly. "You've earned every single one of those tears." Raymond spoke up, his medic's mind already working through practicalities. "Danny, if we're really doing this, we need a plan, a real one. We can't just wing it." "Agreed," Danny said. "Linda, I know this puts you in a tough position professionally. If you want to walk away, we'll understand." Linda looked at her husband, then at Claire, then back at Danny. She took a deep breath. "I became a social worker to protect kids. Sometimes that means working within the system. And sometimes," she paused, "sometimes it means knowing when the system is broken and finding another way. I'm in, but we do this smart." "Thank you," Danny said quietly. For the next 2 hours, the group planned. Linda would use her connections to quietly investigate Derek Lawson, looking for any documented history of violence or complaints. Gregory would research legal precedents for emergency protective custody by private citizens. Raymond would make sure Claire got proper medical care. He had a friend who was a doctor and asked very few questions. Vincent would prepare his uncle's cabin in North Carolina as a safe house, just in case they needed to move Claire quickly. Tommy would use his background in security to set up a watch rotation and secure the perimeter of Danny's property. And Danny and Jennifer would do what they did best: provide a safe, stable home environment where a traumatized child could begin to heal. Claire listened to it all, amazed. These people, strangers 24 hours ago, were organizing their entire lives around keeping her safe. It was overwhelming and terrifying and wonderful all at once. "What about school?" Claire asked suddenly. If I stay here, won't people wonder why there's a kid who's supposed to be missing? Homeschooling, Jennifer said immediately. I'm certified to teach, and I've been thinking about taking a year off from the classroom anyway. This gives me the perfect reason. But what if someone recognizes me? My picture was everywhere. We'll deal with that if it happens, Danny said. For now, you stay here on the property. We'll keep you safe and hidden while we figure out a more permanent solution. And what about Derek? He saw me downtown. He's looking for me. The men exchanged dark looks. Tommy cracked his knuckles. Let him look. If he comes anywhere near this property, he'll have to go through us first. Derek Lawson has no idea what he's dealing with, Vincent added. He's used to scaring little girls. He's not used to facing men who've been through actual combat. Claire felt a strange sensation in her chest. Something she hadn't felt in so long she almost didn't recognize it. Safety, hope, the belief that maybe, just maybe, someone was finally strong enough to stand between her and the monster. Okay, she said quietly. I'll stay. I'll trust you. That's all we ask, Danny said, extending his hand for a handshake, treating her with respect, like an equal partner in this plan, rather than just a victim to be rescued. Claire shook his hand and sealed her fate with Brothers of the Mountain. Outside, the December sun climbed higher in the sky. Derek Lawson had no idea his stepdaughter had found protectors who would burn the world down before letting her go back to him. The system had failed Claire Madison Thompson. But 5 veterans, 2 strong women, and a community of people who believed in doing what was right, not just what was legal, had decided to catch her instead. And this time, nobody was going to let her fall. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks in which Claire slowly began to remember what it felt like to be a child instead of a survivor. The Morrison house developed a new rhythm. Jennifer worked with Claire every morning on schoolwork. She was behind in most subjects after 6 months on the streets, but she was bright and hungry to learn. Afternoons were spent in various forms of healing, art therapy that Jennifer improvised with coloring books and paint sets, baking lessons in the kitchen, quiet time reading by the fireplace. The brothers took turns staying at the house, maintaining a constant presence. They installed security cameras around the property, reinforced the locks, and created a communication network so everyone could be alerted immediately if anything suspicious happened. Claire's physical wounds healed faster than her emotional ones. Her feet scarred over, the bruises faded, and regular meals began to fill out her gaunt frame. But she still woke screaming from nightmares. She still flinched when someone moved too quickly. She still positioned herself in every room so she could see all the exits. Danny's daughters, Hannah and Melissa, had been told that Claire was the daughter of a deceased veteran and was staying with them temporarily while family arrangements were sorted out. The girls accepted this without question. Their father often helped people in need, and they welcomed Claire into their home with genuine warmth. Hannah, who was 12 and naturally maternal, took Claire under her wing. She shared her books, taught Claire how to play video games, and included her in movie nights and board game competitions. Melissa, 14 and more reserved, bonded with Claire over art. They spent hours drawing together, a peaceful activity that required no talking. For the first time in years, Claire experienced what a normal family felt like. Dinners at the table with laughter and conversation. Game nights where the worst consequence of losing was having to help with dishes. Mornings where she woke up in a soft bed instead of on cold concrete. But the peace couldn't last forever. Linda had been quietly investigating Derek Lawson, using her professional connections to access records and databases. What she found was disturbing in its normalcy. Derek was 42, worked as a sales manager for a medical supply company, had no criminal record, paid his taxes, volunteered at his church. On paper, he was a model citizen. That's what makes him so dangerous, Linda explained to the group during one of their evening meetings at the Morrison house. He's smart enough to maintain a perfect public image, His neighbors think he's wonderful. His co-workers describe him as friendly and professional. Even his own family seems to genuinely like him. What about the mother? Gregory asked. Natalie? She's more complicated. Works part-time at a department store, has a history of depression, was in an abusive relationship before she married Derek, Claire's biological father, actually. He wasn't physically abusive, but was an alcoholic. He died driving drunk. So she has a pattern of choosing bad partners, Jennifer said, and a pattern of being too weak to protect her daughter. Tommy added bitterly. It's not always weakness, Linda said carefully. Many domestic abuse victims are so traumatized and conditioned that they genuinely can't see a way out. Natalie may be a victim herself. That doesn't excuse what she allowed to happen to Claire, Vincent said. No, it doesn't, but it does complicate things legally. If Natalie is also being abused, she might be considered another victim rather than a complicit party. Danny had been quiet, listening. Now he spoke up. Have they stopped looking for Claire? The official search is cold, Linda said. FBI has moved on to other cases. Local police still have it as an open investigation, but they're not actively working it. However, she paused, her expression troubled. I have a contact in the police department. She told me off the record that Derek Lawson has been calling them weekly, sometimes more, insisting they need to keep looking. He seems obsessed with finding Claire. Because she's the one thing he can't control, Raymond said. She got away from him. That's intolerable to an abuser's ego. My contact also mentioned something strange. Derek has been spotted in odd places. Downtown homeless areas, talking to street people, showing Claire's picture around. He's conducting his own search. The room went cold. He's hunting her, Tommy said flatly. Yes, and if he's been doing this for 6 months, he's dedicated, which means we need to be even more careful. Claire, who'd been listening from the stairs, she had a habit of eavesdropping on these meetings, felt her chest tighten with familiar panic. She had known Derek wouldn't stop looking. He had told her once, after a particularly bad beating, that she was his, that she would always be his, that there was nowhere she could run, that he wouldn't find her. She crept back to her room, Hannah's room, which she now shared, and climbed into bed, pulling the covers over her head like they could protect her from the world. But Danny had seen her on the stairs. He gave it a few minutes, then quietly knocked on the bedroom door. Claire, can I come in? A muffled okay came from under the blankets. Danny sat on the edge of the bed. You heard all that, huh? The blankets moved in what might have been a nod. I know you're scared. But Claire, look at me for a second. Slowly, Claire's face emerged from the covers. Even in the dim light, Danny could see the fear in her eyes. Derek is looking for you. That's true. But here's what else is true. He has no idea where you are. He has no idea that you're with us. And even if he somehow figures it out, he has to go through 5 combat veterans who are a lot scarier than he is. Do you understand what I'm saying? He always finds a way, Claire whispered. He's smart. He knows how to get what he wants. Claire, Derek is used to scaring someone smaller and weaker than him. He's used to intimidating a child who had no one to protect her. But that's changed now. You're not alone anymore. And believe me when I tell you this, Derek Lawson does not want to face what will happen if he comes near you. You'd really fight him, even if it meant going to jail. Danny thought about his answer carefully. Claire, I've been in actual war. I've faced enemies who were trained killers with automatic weapons and explosives. Derek is a coward who hurts children. If he shows up here, I'm not worried about winning that fight. I'm only worried about stopping myself from doing something I'd regret. Claire studied his face. You really mean that? Every word. She was quiet for a moment. At night, I still dream about him. I dream that he finds me and he drags me back, and this time it's even worse because I tried to get away. That's called trauma, kiddo. Your brain is trying to process really terrible things that happen to you. It's normal, even though it sucks. But dreams can't hurt you, and Derek can't either, not anymore. How can you be so sure? Because I made you a promise, remember? On that mountain road, I promised I wouldn't let anyone take you back, and I keep my promises. Claire wanted to believe him. She wanted it so badly it hurt. But believing meant hoping, and hope was dangerous. Hope could be broken. As if reading her mind, Danny added, I know it's hard to trust people after what you've been through, but Claire, trust is like a muscle. You have to exercise it for it to get stronger. You don't have to trust me completely right now. Just trust me a little bit today, then maybe a little bit more tomorrow. Eventually your brain will learn that it's safe to trust again. Jennifer said something similar, Claire admitted, about healing happening in small steps. My wife is a smart woman. I married up for sure. That got a tiny smile from Claire. She had noticed how Danny and Jennifer were with each other. The casual affection, the inside jokes, the way they worked together as a team. It was so different from Derek and her mother, where every interaction had been tense, where her mother had walked on eggshells to avoid setting Derek off. Can I ask you something? Claire said. Anything. Why doesn't Jennifer seem scared of you? I mean, you're really big and you were a soldier and you probably know how to hurt people, but she never flinches around you. Why? Danny felt his heart break a little, that this child's frame of reference was so skewed that a wife not being afraid of her husband seemed unusual. Because I've never given her a reason to be scared of me, he said gently. Strong men don't prove their strength by hurting people smaller than them. Real strength is using your power to protect people, not control them. Jennifer knows I would never hurt her, just like you're learning that I would never hurt you. Derek used to say he hit me because he loved me, that it was discipline. Derek is a liar. Hurting someone is not love, it's not discipline, it's abuse, period. Anyone who tells you different is trying to manipulate you into accepting something unacceptable. Claire absorbed this. It was one thing to know intellectually that the abuse wasn't her fault, wasn't normal. It was another thing to truly believe it, to unlearn years of conditioning. I'm really tired, she said finally. Get some sleep. I'll be right downstairs if you need anything. And Claire, tomorrow morning, how about you help me and Tommy work on the motorcycles? You're old enough to learn some basic maintenance. Really? A spark of interest, the first genuine excitement Danny had seen from her. Really? We'll teach you about engines, let you get your hands dirty. Fair warning, Tommy tells terrible jokes while he works. I don't mind. You say that now. Just wait until you've heard his knock-knock jokes. Claire smiled, a real smile this time, and Danny took that as his victory for the night. He left her door cracked open as she preferred, and returned downstairs where the others were still strategizing. How is she? Jennifer asked. Scared, but managing. She's tougher than she knows. The group continued their planning late into the night. They were walking a tightrope, keeping Claire hidden while trying to find a legal solution that wouldn't send her back to her abusers. Linda was working on building a case for emergency protective custody, but it required evidence. Raymond had documented Claire's physical injuries, but most had healed. What they needed was Claire's testimony, officially recorded, detailed enough to warrant immediate action. But pushing Claire to relive her trauma before she was ready could do more damage. It was a delicate balance. We need more time, Jennifer said. She's just starting to trust us, just starting to feel safe. If we push her to give a formal statement now, she might shut down completely. But every day we wait is another day Derek could find her, Gregory countered. Then we make sure he doesn't find her, Danny said. Tommy, increase the security patrols. Vincent, I want cameras on every approach to the property. Raymond, keep documenting everything. Her nightmares, her flinching, her behavioral patterns, it's all evidence of ongoing trauma. And I'll keep working my sources, Linda added. If Derek has any skeletons in his closet, I'll find them. They adjourned near midnight, everyone exhausted but determined. As the others left, Jennifer and Danny stood on the porch, watching the taillights disappear down the driveway. "We're in deep," Jennifer said quietly. "I know. If this goes wrong, we could lose everything, the house, our jobs, maybe even custody of our own kids if they decide we're unfit." "I know that too." Jennifer took his hand. "Just so we're clear, I'm with you, all the way, whatever happens." Danny pulled her close. "How did I get so lucky to marry you?" "You must have done something right in a past life," she teased, then grew serious. "Danny, what's our endgame here? We can't hide her forever." "No, but we can hide her long enough to build a case so strong that no judge would even consider sending her back. We get Claire stable enough to give testimony. We get documentation of Derek's abuse. We find a lawyer who specializes in child welfare cases, and we get Claire permanently removed from that home, either through the courts or through termination of parental rights. That could take months, maybe longer. Then it takes months. Claire survived 6 months on the streets. She can survive 6 months here while we fix this the right way." Jennifer hoped he was right. But in the back of her mind, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were racing against a clock they couldn't see. Miles away, in a modest house in Fountain City, Derek Lawson sat in his home office, staring at a map of Knoxville covered in pins and notes. Each pin represented a location he had searched, a person he had questioned, a lead he had followed. He had been methodical in his search for Claire, treating it like a project at work. He had divided the city into grids, systematically covering each area. He had cultivated relationships with homeless populations, offering food and money in exchange for information. He had monitored social media, tracked school enrollment records, watched parks and libraries where runaway kids often congregated. And slowly, painstakingly, he was narrowing down the possibilities. He knew Claire was still alive. He had seen her 3 weeks ago downtown before she had disappeared again. She was thinner, dirtier, clearly struggling, but alive. And if she was alive, she could be found. Derek was patient. He had learned patience in his years of breaking Claire down, of training her to be obedient. It had taken time, but he had almost perfected her before she ran. It infuriated him that she had escaped, that she had defied him, that she had proven she still had some spark of rebellion left. But he would find her. He would bring her home. And when he did, he would make absolutely certain she never ran again. He smiled to himself, a cold expression that never reached his eyes. Claire thought she had escaped. She thought she was safe. She was wrong. She would always be wrong because she was his, and he always got what was his. He returned his attention to the map, plotting his next search grid. Soon, very soon now. In her borrowed bed, Claire woke from another nightmare, screaming. But this time, Jennifer was there within seconds, holding her, reminding her she was safe. Hannah woke up too and squeezed Claire's hand. "You're okay," Hannah whispered. "You're with us. You're safe." And Claire, surrounded by people who cared for her, let herself believe it. Just for tonight, she let herself believe she might actually be safe. Tomorrow would bring its own challenges, but tonight she was protected by Brothers of the Mountain, and that was enough. It happened on a Tuesday afternoon in early January, 4 weeks after the brothers had found Claire on that mountain road. Danny was in the garage workshop, teaching Claire how to change motorcycle oil, while Tommy supervised and told increasingly bad jokes. Jennifer was inside preparing dinner. The security cameras showed nothing unusual, just a quiet winter day on the Morrison property. That's why nobody noticed the silver sedan parked on the access road half a mile away, or the man with binoculars watching the house. Derek Lawson had finally caught a break in his search. 3 days ago, he'd been showing Claire's picture to a gas station attendant on the outskirts of town when the young man had hesitated, then admitted he'd seen a girl matching that description in a truck with some people 3 weeks ago. They'd stopped for gas, and he'd noticed the girl because she'd seemed nervous, scared even. "Did you see where they went?" Derek had asked, his voice carefully casual. "Nah, man. But I remember the truck had a decal in the back window, some kind of motorcycle club logo, Brothers of something. Brothers of the Mountain." Derek had found them easily enough online. A small veterans motorcycle club based in Knoxville, did charity work, stayed out of trouble. Public records showed the club president was Daniel Morrison, 47, Army veteran, married with 2 daughters, lived on Pinecrest Road. Derek had driven by the Morrison house several times over the past 3 days, observing from a distance. This afternoon, he'd finally seen what he'd been looking for. Through the open garage door, a small figure with brown hair working on a motorcycle alongside 2 large men. Claire, his stepdaughter, his property, right there. Rage and triumph warred in Derek's chest. All these months of searching, and she'd been playing house with these bikers, pretending to be part of their family. Well, that ended today. Derek pulled out his phone and called the Knoxville Police Department. "Yes, I need to report a kidnapping," he said, his voice perfectly calibrated to sound distraught. "My daughter, Claire Thompson, she's been missing for 6 months, and I just saw her at a house on Pinecrest Road. Someone's been hiding her. Please, you have to send officers immediately." Inside the garage, Claire was laughing, actually laughing at one of Tommy's terrible knock-knock jokes when she suddenly stopped mid-laugh. Her entire body went rigid and her face drained of color. "Claire, you okay?" Danny asked, immediately alert. "He's here," she whispered. "I can feel it. He's here." "Claire, nobody's here. Look, the cameras don't show." "I don't care what the cameras show." Claire's voice rose to a scream. "He's here. I know it. I can always tell when he's watching me." Tommy exchanged glances with Danny. They had learned not to dismiss Claire's instincts. Children who'd been hunted developed almost supernatural awareness of danger. Danny pulled out his phone and checked the camera feeds more carefully. Nothing on the driveway, nothing at the gates, nothing at the road. Wait. There, on the access road, barely visible through the trees. A silver sedan that hadn't been there an hour ago. "Tommy, get Jennifer and the girls. Move them to the safe room, now." Tommy didn't question, just ran for the house. Danny turned to Claire, who was hyperventilating, her eyes wild with panic. "Claire, listen to me. I need you to breathe, okay? In through your nose, out through your mouth. Can you do that?" But Claire was beyond reason, trapped in a full-blown panic attack. She had spent 6 months running, 6 weeks beginning to feel safe. And now he was here, and it was happening again, and Danny did the only thing he could think of. He pulled Claire into a tight hug, grounding her with his presence. "You're safe, I've got you. Nobody's taking you anywhere. Breathe with me, Claire, in and out. In and out." Slowly, painfully slowly, Claire's breathing steadied. She clung to Danny like he was the only solid thing in a world that had tilted sideways. Vincent's truck pulled up. He'd been on patrol rotation and had gotten the alert. He jumped out, already armed. "What's happening?" "Possible situation." Silver sedan on the access road, been there at least an hour. Claire sensed something wrong. "I'll check it out," Vincent said, heading for his truck. "No, wait." Danny's combat instincts were screaming at him. "If that's Derek and he's found us, he's not going to just sit there watching. He's going to..." Sirens, distant but approaching fast. "Call the police," Danny finished grimly. Tommy emerged from the house. "Jennifer and the girls are secure. What's our play?" "We do this by the book," Danny decided. "Vincent, put that weapon away. We don't give them any excuse to treat this as a hostile situation. Tommy, get every piece of documentation we have. Raymond's medical notes, Linda's research, everything. When the cops get here, we cooperate fully, but we make damn sure they hear Claire's side before they hear Derek's. They're going to try to take her, Claire sobbed against Danny's chest. They're going to make me go with them. Not if I can help it, Danny said fiercely. Claire, do you trust me? Through her tears, Claire nodded. Then trust me now. When the police get here, I need you to be brave one more time. I need you to tell them what happened, all of it. Every terrible thing. Can you do that? I'm so scared. I know. But you're also the bravest person I know. You survived 6 months alone. You can survive this too. And this time you don't have to do it alone. I'll be right there with you. We all will. 3 police cruisers pulled up to the house, lights flashing. 6 officers emerged, hands on their weapons. A 7th vehicle arrived moments later, an unmarked car with a woman in plainclothes who introduced herself as Detective Sarah Mitchell from the Missing Persons Unit. Daniel Morrison, she called out. That's me! Danny stood up slowly, hands visible, Claire still pressed against his side. Before you say anything, I know why you're here. Claire Thompson. She's safe, she's unharmed, and she has a story you need to hear. Sir, we received a report that you're harboring a kidnapped minor. We need you to release her to our custody immediately. She wasn't kidnapped. She ran away from an abusive home and we found her. We've been keeping her safe while we tried to figure out the legal situation. That's not your decision to make, Detective Mitchell said, not unkindly. Claire needs to be returned to her legal guardians while we investigate these allegations. Her legal guardian is the person who abused her. Danny's voice rose, despite his effort to stay calm. If you send her back there, you're sending a 10-year-old abuse victim back to her abuser. Danny Morrison. Linda Walsh came striding out of her car, which had just arrived. She must have been monitoring police scanners. Detective Mitchell, I'm Linda Walsh, licensed social worker. I've been working with Claire Thompson for the past 4 weeks, documenting her case. I can verify that this child has been receiving appropriate care and that there is substantial evidence of prior abuse. Detective Mitchell's expression shifted slightly. Professional recognition between 2 people who worked in related fields. Mrs. Walsh, I'm familiar with your work, but protocol is protocol. Claire needs to be placed in official protective custody while this is investigated. I agree, Linda said, and Danny's heart sank. But protective custody doesn't mean returning her to her home. It means placing her in foster care or with approved relatives while the investigation proceeds. We don't have immediate foster placements available. The system is overloaded. Standard procedure in these cases is temporary reunification with the family while DCS conducts interviews and— No! Claire's scream cut through the air. She tore away from Danny and ran, not toward the cars, but toward the woods behind the house. Claire! Danny shouted, starting after her, but 2 officers blocked his path. Sir, stay where you are! But Tommy had anticipated this. He was already running, his long legs eating up the distance. He caught up with Claire 50 yards into the woods, just as she was scrambling up a tree, old survival instincts kicking in. Claire, stop! It's me, Tommy! I won't go back. I'll die first. I mean it! Tommy stood at the base of the tree, hands up, non-threatening. Nobody's making you go back, I promise. But running isn't going to help right now. We need to face this together. You've got a whole army on your side, kid. Let us fight for you. They won't listen. They never listen. Adults always believe other adults, never kids. Then we make them listen. Claire, you're not alone this time. You've got Danny, Jennifer, me, Vincent, Ray, Greg, Linda, all of us. We're not going to let you fall. But you have to trust us. You have to come back and tell your story. From the house, they could hear raised voices, Danny arguing with the police, demanding they wait, insisting Claire had rights. Claire looked down at Tommy from her perch in the tree. This big, scarred man who told terrible jokes and taught her how to fix engines and never once made her feel afraid. What if it's not enough? She whispered. What if I tell them everything and they still send me back? Then we'll figure out plan B. But Claire, hiding in a tree isn't plan A, B, or Z. It's just delaying the inevitable. Come on down. Be brave one more time. Slowly, Claire climbed down. Tommy lifted her the last few feet, setting her gently on the ground. Then he did something unexpected. He knelt down so they were eye level. "My dad beat me when I was a kid," Tommy said quietly. "Every day for years. I thought I deserved it. Thought I was a bad kid. It wasn't until I joined the Marines and met other men, good men, that I realized my dad was the problem, not me. You know what I wish? I wish someone had fought for me the way we're fighting for you. So don't give up now, okay? We're just getting started." Claire threw her arms around Tommy's neck and held on tight. Then together, they walked back to face the police. The scene at the house had evolved. More cars had arrived. Gregory and Raymond, responding to the emergency. Another unmarked car, this one containing a lawyer Linda had called, a woman named Patricia Hendricks who specialized in child welfare cases, and a silver sedan. Derek Lawson had arrived. Claire froze when she saw him standing by his car talking to Detective Mitchell. He looked exactly as she remembered. Average height, dark hair starting to grey at the temples, pleasant face that most people found trustworthy. He was crying, actual tears streaming down his face as he spoke to the detective. "That's my stepdaughter," Derek was saying, his voice breaking convincingly. "We've been searching for her for 6 months. We thought she was dead, and these people, they kept her from us, from her mother. Do you have any idea what this has done to Natalie?" Then Derek looked up and saw Claire. Their eyes locked across the driveway. To everyone else, Derek's expression probably looked like relieved joy. But Claire saw what was really there: cold fury, the promise of retribution, and the absolute certainty that he had won. She felt her knees buckle. Tommy caught her, holding her upright. "Don't look at him," Tommy murmured. "Look at me. Focus on me." But Claire couldn't look away. She was the mouse, and Derek was the snake, and 6 weeks of safety evaporated like morning dew. She was back in that house, back in his control, back in hell. "Claire!" Derek called out, starting toward her. "Baby girl, thank God. Come here, sweetheart, let's go home." "Stay away from her." Danny's voice cracked like a whip. He positioned himself between Derek and Claire, his posture aggressive. "Sir, step back." An officer moved to intervene. "That man is an abuser," Danny said loudly, clearly, making sure everyone heard. "He has been physically and sexually abusing that child for years. Her mother knew and did nothing. Claire didn't run away randomly. She ran away from him." Derek's face morphed into an expression of hurt bewilderment. "What? That's insane. Claire, honey, why would you say such things? We love you. Your mother is heartbroken." Patricia Hendricks, the lawyer, stepped forward. "Detective Mitchell, I'm representing Claire Thompson in this matter. I'm formally requesting that my client be placed in emergency protective custody under the care of Daniel and Jennifer Morrison, pending a full investigation of abuse allegations." "That's highly irregular," Detective Mitchell said. "What's irregular is returning a child who is clearly terrified to the home she's accused of abuse," Patricia countered. "Look at her. Does that look like a child who wants to go home?" Everyone looked at Claire. She was trembling violently, her face pale, her breathing rapid. The physical manifestation of trauma was undeniable. "She's probably just confused," Derek said smoothly. "She's been through so much. Being taken by these people, kept away from her family. She doesn't know what's real anymore." "I know what's real." Claire's voice was small but clear. "You hurt me for years, and I ran away because I'd rather be dead than let you touch me again." The driveway went silent. Even the officers looked uncomfortable. Derek's mask slipped for just a second, a flash of rage so intense that several people took a step back. Then he recomposed himself. "Claire, sweetheart, I don't know what these people have told you, what they've put in your head, but nobody put anything in her head, Jennifer said, emerging from the house. She had been recording everything on her phone. Claire told us her story voluntarily, and we believe her. Of course you do, Derek said, his tone turning ugly. Because you wanted to keep her, didn't you? Play happy family with someone else's child. This is parental alienation. I'll be filing charges against all of you. File whatever you want, Danny said. We're not letting you near her. You don't have a choice. Derek turned to Detective Mitchell. I'm her legal guardian. I want her returned to me now, or I'm calling my lawyer and suing the department, the county, and everyone involved in keeping her from me. Detective Mitchell looked deeply uncomfortable. She was trying to balance protocol, legal requirements, and the obvious terror of a child caught in the middle. Patricia Hendricks spoke up again. Detective, under Tennessee Code Section 37(1)(14), any person who has knowledge of abuse may take temporary custody of a child if there is imminent danger. The Morrisons observed Claire injured and afraid. They've documented her condition and they've provided appropriate care. We can make a case for legal emergency custody. That's a stretch and you know it, Derek said. They're not law enforcement, they're not social workers, they're bikers who decided to play hero. Give me my daughter. She's not your daughter, Claire suddenly screamed. You're not my father. My father is dead. You're just the monster who destroyed my life. Her voice echoed across the property, raw, anguished, and utterly convincing. Detective Mitchell made a decision. Mr. Lawson, I'm going to need you to step back. Claire, honey, can you come talk to me? Just you and me in my car where it's quiet. Claire looked at Danny. He gave her an encouraging nod. Can Danny come too? Claire asked. I'm sorry, sweetie, but I need to talk to you alone. It's procedure. Then I'm invoking my right to have my lawyer present during questioning, Patricia said immediately. Claire is a minor making serious allegations. She deserves legal representation during any interview. Detective Mitchell couldn't argue with that. Fine, Ms. Hendricks, you can accompany her, but Mr. Morrison, you need to wait here. Claire walked on shaking legs toward the detective's car, Patricia beside her. Before getting in, she turned back one more time to look at Danny and the brothers, all standing in a protective line, all broadcasting the same message. We've got you. She took a breath, squared her small shoulders, and got into the car. For the next hour, Claire told Detective Mitchell everything. Patricia gently guided her when she got stuck, making sure the detective understood the timeline, the escalation, the attempts Claire had made to get help that were ignored. Claire's voice wavered, broke, went silent at points, but she pushed through. She showed the detective the scars on her back, the circular burns on her arms from cigarettes, the pattern of old bruises. She described specific incidents with specific details that a child couldn't fabricate. She explained her 6 months of survival, painting a picture of a child so desperate to escape that she had chosen homelessness over home. Outside the car, Derek stood with 2 officers, maintaining his facade of concerned stepfather, but his eyes never left the vehicle where Claire sat. His fingers drummed against his leg, the only sign of his internal rage. Danny, Tommy, Vincent, Raymond, and Gregory stood in their own cluster, a wall of protection. They had fought in wars, seen unspeakable things, faced down enemies with guns and bombs. But this, watching a child face her abuser with only words as weapons, was harder than any combat. Finally, the car doors opened. Patricia emerged first, her professional mask in place but her eyes angry. Then Detective Mitchell, then Claire, looking exhausted but calmer. Detective Mitchell approached Derek. Mr. Lawson, based on the allegations that have been made, I'm going to need you to come down to the station for questioning. This is ridiculous, Derek said. She's a child. Children make up stories. Then you'll have no problem answering some questions. I'm also going to be contacting the Department of Children's Services to conduct a full investigation. In the meantime, Claire will not be returning to your custody. You can't do that. Actually, I can. Given the specific and credible nature of her allegations, I'm authorizing emergency protective placement. Ms. Walsh, you're with DCS. Linda stepped forward. Yes, I am. You'll take custody of Claire Thompson pending the investigation? Absolutely. And where will she be placed? With the Morrisons, if they're willing. They have appropriate facilities, they've been providing good care, and the child has formed an attachment. They're also willing to submit to background checks, home studies, whatever is required. We're more than willing, Danny said. Detective Mitchell looked at Derek, whose mask had finally cracked completely. His face was red with rage, his fists clenched. This is illegal! You're kidnapping my daughter! Mr. Lawson, if you don't calm down, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I'll sue! I'll have your badge. Mr. Lawson, leave. Now. We'll contact you to schedule an interview. Go. For a moment, it looked like Derek might do something violent. His entire body was rigid with fury, but he was smart enough to know he was outnumbered, outmaneuvered, and being watched by multiple police officers. He turned to Claire one last time. This isn't over, he said quietly. You're mine, Claire. You'll always be mine, and you're going to regret this. That's a threat, Patricia said immediately. Detective, you heard that? I heard it. Mr. Lawson, leave now or I'll arrest you for intimidation. Derek got into his car and drove away, tires spitting gravel. But everyone knew this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of a different kind of battle. After the police left, after Linda finished the paperwork for temporary custody, after the lawyer left with promises to file motions first thing in the morning, the group collapsed in the Morrison living room. Claire sat between Danny and Jennifer on the couch, physically and emotionally depleted. Hannah and Melissa had been allowed out of the safe room and sat nearby, pale and shaken from the drama. Did I do okay? Claire asked quietly. You did amazing, Danny said. You were so brave, Claire. Derek looked like he wanted to kill me. Derek can want all he likes. He's not getting anywhere near you, Tommy said firmly. What happens now? Claire asked. Linda explained, there will be an investigation. DCS will interview your mother, Derek, neighbors, your old teachers, doctors, anyone who might have information. They'll review medical records, school records. Meanwhile, Patricia will file for emergency protective custody to be made permanent and eventually for termination of parental rights if the evidence supports it. How long will that take? Months, probably. These things move slowly. And I stay here the whole time. If the Morrisons are willing, yes. Danny pulled Claire close. We're willing for as long as you need. Even after the legal stuff is settled, if you want to stay, you stay. Claire finally allowed herself to cry, not from fear this time, but from relief, exhaustion, and the overwhelming realization that maybe, just maybe, she had actually escaped. The nightmare might not be over, but she wasn't facing it alone anymore. Jennifer stroked her hair. You're part of this family now, sweetie. We don't give up on family. Never, Hannah added, taking Claire's hand. Melissa, who rarely showed emotion, spoke up. Anyone who tries to hurt you has to go through all of us. And we're pretty tough. Claire looked around at these people, this makeshift family of bikers and teachers and sisters, and felt something she had thought was gone forever. Belonging. Outside, the sun was setting over the mountains, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Derek Lawson was somewhere out there, plotting and planning and refusing to let go. The legal battle ahead would be long and difficult. There would be court dates, testimony, cross-examinations, and attempts to discredit everyone involved. But tonight, Claire was safe. Tonight, she was surrounded by people who believed her, protected her, and would fight for her. And for the first time in years, she went to sleep without nightmares. Because she finally understood what Danny had been trying to teach her, Trust was a muscle, and hers was getting stronger. The Brothers of the Mountain had taken an oath to protect and defend. They had kept that oath in war, and they were keeping it now. Claire Madison Thompson was their mission, and they never failed a mission. Derek Lawson had made the mistake of underestimating a bunch of veterans who knew how to fight battles that mattered. And this battle, protecting a child who had nowhere else to turn, was the most important battle any of them had ever fought. They would win. They had to, because anything less was unthinkable. And as Claire finally, peacefully slept in her safe room surrounded by people who loved her, 5 veterans stood watch through the night, ready to face whatever came next. Epilogue. 6 months later, in a Knoxville courthouse, Judge Margaret Reynolds reviewed the thick file in front of her. She had heard 3 days of testimony in the case of Claire Madison Thompson. She had heard from teachers who reported Claire's declining behavior before her disappearance. She had heard from neighbors who had heard shouting from the Lawson household. She had heard from medical experts who examined Claire's scars and confirmed they were consistent with long-term abuse. She had heard from Linda Walsh, who presented months of documented evidence of Claire's trauma and recovery. She had heard from Natalie Thompson Lawson, who had finally, belatedly, admitted she had known about the abuse but had been too afraid of Derek to stop it. She had heard from Derek Lawson himself, who had maintained his innocence, but whose story had contained inconsistencies and lies that even his expensive lawyer couldn't smooth over. And she had heard from Claire, now 11 years old, stronger, healthier, but still bearing the invisible scars of what she had endured. Judge Reynolds removed her glasses and looked at the courtroom. Claire sat between Danny and Jennifer Morrison, who had spent 6 months caring for her as if she were their own daughter. Behind them sat Tommy, Vincent, Raymond, Gregory, and Linda, the unlikely army that had saved one little girl. "I've seen a lot of difficult cases in my years on the bench," Judge Reynolds said, "but this one has affected me deeply. What happened to Claire Thompson represents a systemic failure at almost every level. Teachers who saw warning signs but didn't push hard enough. Social services who accepted superficial explanations. A mother who chose her own comfort over her daughter's safety, and an abuser who manipulated everyone with a charming facade. But this case also represents something else. What can happen when people refuse to accept that failure, when they choose to do what's right instead of what's easy? Mr. Lawson, you have been found guilty of multiple counts of child abuse. You will be sentenced separately in criminal court. But in this family court, I am terminating your parental rights effective immediately. You are never to contact Claire Thompson again. Mrs. Thompson Lawson, your parental rights are also terminated. You failed in the most fundamental duty of a parent, to protect your child. That failure has consequences. As for Claire's placement, I am granting full permanent custody to Daniel and Jennifer Morrison. If they choose to adopt, those proceedings can begin immediately. The courtroom erupted in restrained celebration. Claire turned to Danny with wide eyes. "Does that mean I can stay forever?" "If you want to," Danny said, his voice thick with emotion. "Would you like to be a Morrison officially?" Claire launched herself into his arms, then Jennifer's. Then she was surrounded by Hannah and Melissa and all the brothers, all of them crying and laughing and celebrating. Derek Lawson was led out of the courtroom in handcuffs, his face twisted with impotent rage. He had lost everything, his freedom, his reputation, his control over Claire. Justice, delayed but not denied, had finally caught up with him. 3 months after that, on a bright October day, Claire Madison Thompson officially became Claire Madison Morrison in an adoption ceremony that doubled as a celebration party. Brothers of the Mountain turned out in force, along with dozens of friends, neighbors, and supporters who had rallied around this unusual family. Claire stood between her adoptive parents, she called them Mom and Dad now, wearing a dress Hannah had helped her pick out, and felt a peace she had never imagined possible. Do you, Claire Madison Thompson, accept Daniel and Jennifer Morrison as your parents? The judge asked. I do, Claire said clearly. And do you, Daniel and Jennifer Morrison, promise to love, protect, and care for Claire as your daughter? We do, they said together. Then by the power vested in me by the state of Tennessee, I declare this adoption final. Claire Madison Morrison, welcome to your forever family. The cheers were deafening. Tommy lifted Claire onto his shoulders so she could see all the people who had fought for her, believed in her, and refused to let her fall through the cracks. Later, at the party on the Morrison property, as Claire played with her sisters and laughed with the brothers who had become uncles, Danny stood with Jennifer watching the scene. We did good, Jennifer said softly. We did, Danny agreed. Though I think Claire did the hardest part. She survived. She fought. She trusted us when trust was the scariest thing in the world. She's going to be okay, isn't she? Yeah, she's got a long road ahead. Therapy, dealing with trauma, learning to trust fully. But she's tough, and she's not alone. Jennifer leaned into him. You know, when you brought her home that night, I thought we were in for a few weeks of helping a lost kid. I didn't realize we were gaining a daughter. Best surprises are the ones you don't plan for. Claire ran up to them, out of breath and grinning. Dad, Tommy says he'll teach me to ride a motorcycle when I turn 16. Can I, please? Danny pretended to consider this seriously. Only if you promise to wear proper safety gear and take a full safety course first. Deal! She ran off again, and Danny called after her, and only if your mother agrees. We'll talk about it in 5 years, Jennifer shouted back. As the sun set over the Smoky Mountains, painting the sky in brilliant colors, the Morrison family, all 5 of them now, gathered for a group photo. Brothers of the Mountains stood behind them, a chosen family that had formed in the crucible of shared purpose. Claire looked at the camera and smiled, a real, genuine, happy smile that reached her eyes. She had asked strangers to kill her once, because death seemed preferable to the life she was living. But that was before she learned that some strangers become family, before she learned that some promises are kept, before she learned that broken things can heal if given enough time, love, and protection. She was Claire Madison Morrison now. She was a daughter, a sister, and an honorary member of Brothers of the Mountain. She was safe, she was loved, she was home, and that made all the difference.